Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Sheldon. We will be speaking about the co-design and co-delivery of Tedi's 3-year automation and optimization roadmap. My name's Dominic Stoll. I'm the Solutions Manager at Mipac, and I'm joined by Lyndah Brown, who is the Process Improvement Manager at Tedi. A little bit about Mipac. We're 24 years young. We have a team of around 90 staff. We specialise in the automation and optimisation of complex processes, specifically within mining, minerals and metals, but also extending out into water, energy and oil and gas. While being headquartered in Brisbane, we have a global reach with 50% of our revenue coming via partnerships with international clients such as Tedi. And our capability extends across the entire automation pyramid, delivering solutions from instrumentation all the way through to our proprietary augmented decision-making and business intelligence software. I'd like to hand over to Lyndah now and just ask her to share a little bit about Tedi.
Thank you, Dominic, and good afternoon, everyone. I am very happy to be co-presenting our automation and optimization journey with Mipac for the past 3.5 years. For those who may be unfamiliar with Tedi, just a little brief. Tedi was originally owned, operated and managed by BHP. And in September of 2013, it was taken over by the state of Papua New Guinea. We are proudly 100% PNG owned. There's an existing shareholding of the PNG government holding 67%, and the balance of that is held by the local landowners and their companies. We are located on the cusp of the Indonesian and Papua New Guinea border, and we pride ourselves on being the longest running open pit mine in PNG. Our products are copper, gold and silver, with current head grades sitting at around 0.4% copper and just under 6.6% gold. We shift about 300 kilotons of dirt in the mine, and we mill about 24 million tons per annum through our mills. Thanks, Dominic. The next slide.
That's great, Lyndah. And can you just share with the audience some of the challenges that Tedi was facing when we embarked on this journey?
Sure. So as I said, 3.5 years ago, Tedi, the processing plant in Tedi, was experiencing very low gold and copper recovery. And a lot of this was mainly due to unstable operations of the plant. And this was a dual problem. It was both to do with reliability of plant equipment, and as a result of that, operators would actually run the plant in manual. And as you will all understand, different operators and variability of operation. And hence the board at the time approved and site commissioned a team to look into improving some of the processes.
So with all great things, there's a funny story behind the automation and optimization roadmap. Can you just share with us the inception and how that really began?
Yes, so there's a reason why there's a serviette in the background of that slide, and that is exactly a serviette similar to that, in which the strategy was arrived at by myself and Martin Randall, who was the process design engineer with Mipac and who was seconded to us. So we developed a 3-pronged approach to these problems. Obviously, we had issues with process stability, so instrumentation and control optimization was key for us to be able to have some form of auto control. The other part of this as well is that we had existing data repositories, such as the PI system, but it was not being utilized fully. So we had to actually upgrade and fix that system just so that we would be able to, as a minimum, show our short-term interval controls and be able to dashboard them publicly so that we could improve our decision making. The third part of that as well was our teams were just so busy fighting fires with all the unstable operation that we needed someone to step in and help us with developing our internal capability in terms of the process control system support. And that was done by Mipac.
Great. And there's some fascinating case studies for some of the projects that we were able to deliver over those 3 years. Can you just start with the hydrocyclones?
That's correct. So up front in the circuit, we had to get that right from the beginning. And 3.5 years ago, we would be experiencing frequent downtimes due to sanding up of cyclone feed lines. And that was, again, as a result of manual operation and equipment issues. That as a result of that, it resulted in us actually doing a major exercise around calibrating and tuning surrounding instrumentation. We also introduced a number of control logics in terms of cascade control around water addition and auto control of cyclones utilizing pressure. In addition to that, we had to train up the control room operators to be able to handle these changes because they were so used to operating in manual for such a long time. And I'm happy to say that in this time, we no longer suffer any more bugging events as a result of these changes.
Impressive outcome. We took a downstream approach to the improvement projects. Can you just share a little bit about the next operation in the process, flotation?
So flotation, we had serious issues with our cell level controls, and this resulted in a lot of loss in recovery. So apart from the metallurgical parameter manipulations, we introduced feed forward control to replace the unreliable control system at the time. And this resulted in greater control of the levels, consistent froth overflow, mass pull, and subsequently concentrate grade.
One of the challenges that you described at the beginning was insufficient instrumentation and data for business intelligence. Can you just describe how Mipac's MPA augmented decision-making platform contributed to creating that visibility for the operations?
Absolutely. So what we suffered at the time was that we had limited visibility and transparency for the reasons as to why we underperformed. So we had to utilize a platform which would be able to create that visibility, and hence we partnered with Mipac and dashboarded a lot of our plant KPIs on that online platform for the purposes of visibility, accountability, timely decision making, and making data-driven decisions. As a result of that, we were able to hold people to account for their actions, and also it increased performance as a result of that.
Fantastic. And so the partnership between Tedi and Mipac was just one of several activities that Tedi was performing, but a significant contributor to some very impressive success. Can you just take us through some of the outcomes that Tedi has been able to achieve over the last few years?
Sure, Dominic. And I might add here that the automation part of it was only one aspect. There were actually other physical projects that we had to undertake. So of the initial strategies that we put in place, 67% of the actions have been the enablers for the current improvements that are reflected there on the slide. And this is a result of those 3.5 years of work. Now, you will notice that those two graphs there are basically what we were mandated to improve, gold recovery and copper recovery. Now, for the purposes of this slide show, I have to qualify that we actually had this data validated by JK Tech for the purposes of this presentation. And the results and the increases in recovery that you see there are actually independent of head grade, sulfur to copper ratio, and concentrate grade. which are key for any improvements in recoveries. And I'm happy to say that the stable and automated operations actually leaves us time now to actually concentrate on improvements, and that has been enhanced by the digital maturity that we've arrived at.
Excellent. And so can you just share with the audience what your thoughts are on the contributors to achieving the success and working with Mipac?
Absolutely. So I guess, I couldn't help but overhear Patrick Tate earlier commenting in the earlier presentation about, having customized solutions. And that's exactly what Mipac did for us. So, they listened to what we wanted and tailored the project within our boundaries and team capabilities. And we utilized their expertise in project management and their project management portal, Confluence, to assist us in any support that we needed, whether it was operational, process, or just project managing things. Now, this portal actually also enabled us to track the values of the different improvements that we were putting in place. It has also enabled us to be able to capture a lot of the changes that have been implemented, and it captures the knowledge that goes with that. And as a result, if I leave tomorrow or somebody in my team leaves tomorrow, there is continuity for the next person coming in to be able to continue the improvements on what we've built up.
Yeah, that's great, Lyndah. And I think it's worthwhile acknowledging that a lot of this activity was undertaken during COVID, where it just wasn't possible for people to travel to Tedi. And while our typical approach is a hybrid one of site and remote work, we essentially shifted to fully remote delivery and still managed to achieve the success that we did. So it's a testament to how effective that portal is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I see there's a question online, and hopefully we can answer it before the Q&A session. But Lyndah, can you just tell us about what is next from a visionary as to what Tedi is going to be doing?
So if you refer back to our automation roadmap on that serviette, we're actually 70% of the way through our journey. And we have now reached a level of maturity which enables us to improve our decision making. And as you can see, we're now analyzing control loop metrics and monitoring. Those are things that were unheard of back in the day. In addition to this, we've also established what we call a COE, or a Center of Excellence, which is now starting to accept improvement ideas to augment these current results. The next cab of the rank is basically our plant asset renewal project, which is a $248 million worth project, which is looking at actually replacing our whole entire copper flotation plant. And we're looking to include the latest technology to further improve our operations.
And we're really looking forward to working with Tedi on that and your other partners. So with such significant success, it's not just one person, it's as a result of a team. Lyndah, is there anyone that you'd like to acknowledge?
Well, all the faces are up there on the screen, but I guess first and foremost, we've got to acknowledge our general manager, who is our sponsor, Greg Moore, and who believed in us to be able to carry out this work and support us financially, obviously. We have our process improvements champions, and in the likes of Samson Tamian and Graham Eliab. And obviously we have our process technical advisor in Dominic, and including Tony Porter, who was our ABB composer, who did a lot of our control logics along with Mipac. We couldn't have done a lot of the work without them. And a lot of these, to be able to have these sort of recoveries that we experienced, it was a site-wide collaborative effort, and that was going through the process technical services teams, our reliability teams, maintenance, operations, and asset management.
And from a Mipac perspective, I'd love to acknowledge Martin Randall, who Lyndah mentioned was one of the Mipac originators. He's since handed that baton over to Mick Milovanov and Raventh Pathry, and of course Glenn Johnson, who has been the project manager throughout the entire journey. That brings us to the end of the presentation. Everyone, thank you so much for the opportunity to share this journey with you on behalf of Lyndah, Tedi, Mipac+Ok and myself.